All of our schools are doing fantastic work to prepare children for future success. And next year, students at Scott No Kill will have a unique opportunity, partner with students in China to share learning and culture. And joining me now is Vicki Duncan, principal at Scott School. And Vicki, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
After that delay.
Yes.
So that was the globalization delay.
Okay, I'm ready.
So you just visited China and creating partnerships with our schools, for our schools. We just heard from Brent Beeler talking about this whole issue of globalization and culture. Why is it important for these connections to be made?
And it is critically important to prepare our students to be global citizens in the 21st century. And what better way than to use technology to make that possible? We're very, very fortunate to be able to develop a relationship with Lu Chao in a school. It's an experimental school actually in China. And even this morning, we had a second grade classroom Skyping in with the principal and some of the teachers with Lu Chao.
So, specific with that technology, how are those connections made?
Right.
What kind of technology are we using to connect with students to make this real for them?
Well, several different things. We're very fortunate to have the Rosetta Stone program, so it will give our students an opportunity to practice those that are learning Chinese with those who are actually from our Chinese partner school. Additionally, today we used our Promethean board to allow our students the opportunity to interact with the principal and the teachers in China.
So moving forward, and when students in this whole issue of culture, globalization, you know, you talked about Rosetta Stone and giving students access to a lot of language. Tell us how that's going from your perspective and how we're going to get all children engaged in world language acquisition.
And just think of how exciting that is, that our children as young, hopefully next year as first grade, perhaps even kindergarten, will begin to learn language, and that they could essentially become proficient in several different languages by the time they graduate from high school. And our students are very excited about it, as are our parents.
Talk about parents. Parents have access to this as well.
They do.
And so not only can students then communicate during school,
that's correct,
but also at home.
It is, yes, very, very much so. You know, we're very fortunate at Scott to have a lot of different international students, and we embrace the fact that their parents can come in and provide cultural experiences. But our partnership with China will also help us to extend that.
Why China?
Well, they were just as interested as we were in developing a partnership, and through Global Indiana, they helped to establish that partnership for us. We are very interested in learning from each other in terms of teaching practices as well. They are very interested in the fact that our students are very creative, and we do a lot of project-based work, and they're interested in learning more about that. You
know, you go back to 1983, A Nation at Risk.
Yes.
And one of the things that report discussed was the need for students to learn world languages.
Absolutely.
Yet there hasn't been a significant growth in world language acquisition during that time. This is a real solution, you think? I
do believe it's a wonderful solution, and it truly immerses the students in the language. And what better age to begin that process than elementary education?
Well, I think what's exciting is it's a language acquisition, but then you're tying it with culture.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things we heard Brent talk about. Until you are immersed in that culture, it's very difficult to do physically.
It is.
But technology is solving that. So what's next? What do you see in the future for these kind of partnerships?
Well, what we hope to do is actually have some of our families travel to China, and perhaps some of their families travel to visit us. We hope that will be in the very near future. Additionally, we may eventually expand some of our partnerships to include other schools. Right now we're looking at perhaps a school in South America. So we'll look forward to that.
That's great. Final question.
Sure.
This all comes back to our children.
Sure it does.
And the experience they're having. What has been their feedback?
Our students were so excited today to be able to Skype with someone all the way across the world, and to be able to see that happen, and just the enthusiasm in their eyes is truly makes it all just so much worthwhile.
Well, this is exciting work. We appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
You're making this happen. I think it's also a model for other schools, not only in the EVSC, but around the state and region to take a look at. So we invite people to, you're going through a big transition.
Absolutely, we are.
This spring and into next fall, but after that, I would invite people to give you a call and talk about how they can create these kind of models as well.
And we would love for that.
Great. Coming up next is our EVSC Spotlight. The end of school year is fast approaching, and so are final exams. Find out how middle and high school students are teaming up to perform well on these exams right after this.